of the One Piece live action is finally here. But the question is, did Netflix manage to make season 2 better than season 1? Let's talk about it. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kyla and welcome to Project Pop Cinema. Today I'm going to be giving you a full review of season 2 of One Piece live action. Talk about the stories, new characters, what worked, what didn't, and whether if the season lived up to the first season. I'm so excited. Let me know what you thought of One Piece live action season 2. We can chat in the comments about it. Season of One Piece is breaking down the first part of the Alabasta arc that takes you to Logtown, Reverse Mountain, Little Garden, Drum Island, and Whiskey Peak. I'm going to break down each episode and the basic things that we saw in this season. If you have not seen the live action, you're going to get a little bit of spoiler. So episode 1 is the beginning. We get into the Logtown as we see the Straw Hats are coming in town and Luffy wants to go the king of the pirates, Goldie Roger himself's execution platform. We see a big fight between Luffy and Buggy and the crew. Vila's back as she now has the slip fruit. Captain Smoker and the rest of the Marines and Takashi are introduced also to figure out what's going on with the infamous Baroque word. Episode 2 is called Good Will Hunting, a double entendre on Good Will Hunting with Matt Damon and Robert Williams. Episode of Whiskey Peak, which is episode 3. We also meet 2 of the Baroque works, Miss Valentine, Mr. 1 that we see in this episode as episode 4 and 5. Garden Arc part 1 and 2. In both of those episodes it says Big Trouble in the Little Garden and Wax On Wax Off. If you're a Karate Kid fan, that's what that hints. The crew lands in a prehistoric island. We're filled with dinosaurs, giants of Elbap, Dory and Brogy, and we see that the Baroque Works is hunting them down. 5, part 2 of Little Garden is the battle between Mr. 3 and Miss Golden Week. Golden Week is so fun in this version. When you see her in the anime, she barely has any much time, but I like what she did with Luffy. But getting to see Mr. 3 and Miss Golden Week and all other Baroque agents, especially that scene where Sanji is fighting the otter. I don't know why I can't think of their names right now. Otter, that scene is fun. See Luffy fighting Mr. 3. We get some time with Usopp being the big guy and being not a coward, and the Straw Hats escape the island. Now we get to episode 6 and 7. And those episodes is Nami Dearest and Reindeer Shames, which is part 1 and 2 of Drum Island. My favorite time to see my favorite character. I love Chopper so much. I don't care what anyone says. I literally cosplayed as Chopper for MomoCon last year, so I was so happy we finally are getting Chopper. In these 2 episodes, we get the backstory of Tony Chopper and his doctor father, how Chopper is struggling to accept himself and he really wants to become a doctor. We also see this storyline of Wappo and how Wappo took over Drum Kingdom and the big fight between them at the end, and the crew is preparing to fight the Baroque Works and take Vivi back to her home of Alabasta for season 3. That is the full breakdown of season 2 of the live action One Piece. Let's get into my thoughts, y'all. Again, Netflix has done an amazing job. When I first heard about the first season and it was coming out and Oda was on it, I was like, okay, Oda doesn't play about his work, it's gonna go well. Season 2 was even better. Alabasta is my favorite arc. It's really the first time you get such a huge arc in One Piece. First they were in East Blue Saga, and then they entered the Grand Line, and now the whole Alabasta arc is really big. I'm excited to see how they're going to bring Alabasta itself to life and even more crazy characters, but Alabasta arc for me is the first time you actually see the crew work as a crew and fight for what is right in protecting Vivi and her family and the kingdom and the people of her kingdom. So many fun changes and cameos in this, and I want to talk about some of them. Again, spoilers for the anime, the manga, and the live action you haven't seen it. First, we get Barlamanto. I'm saying if I say his name wrong. Literally, when I was watching it, I was like, wait a minute. He looked familiar. Is that Barlamanto? If you're an anime only fan, you know who he is. And in the anime or the manga, you don't meet Barlamanto until Dressrosa, where he is supposed to be this hugest fan of the Straw Hats. And it was just so cool to see him early on, and like even before. He was a fan of Luffy. In the anime, it is known that Barlamanto is a fan of Luffy. He's a huge fan, and he was there when Buggy got shocked and Luffy got shocked from lightning on the execution platform in Logtown. So it was just really cool to see him, and how after he actually saw it in person, he had a dream. And even in the episode, Luffy asked him, like, what is your dream? And he could not say anything for the life of him. Now, this is something I did not catch. So there's the scene where Luffy is almost getting taken over by Smoker and Dragon, who is his father. You see him as a silhouette. They don't say his name exactly yet, but Dragon, the guy, is basically his father, saves him. And then we see Sabo. I did not see this right away. Like, I did not see this until I was watching recap videos. I was like, wait a minute, I did not see Sabo. So I had to go back and watch the whole episode to find him. We didn't even know that Sabo was in Logtown when Dragon appeared. And it's so cool that you actually got to see him, and they showed him so early on. Even though this is such a good hint, because we're gonna get Ace soon in the next part. My favorite thing about the Labu episode and getting to meet Labu was the introduction of York and Brook. In the episode of Good Will Hunting, we see Luffy and the crew go to Reverse Mountain, and when they make it, the Baroque works and Nami and them are stuck in Labu. Luffy made a deal with Labu that you have to stop hitting your head on the mountain and become a part of my crew and be my friend, and promise that we'll be back. He opened his mouth, his friends came out. When they do the flashback telling the story of Labu, what Crocus is telling Luffy, we get Brook and York. Oh my goodness. Yo ho ho ho. I'm probably not doing it good, but I love Brook. I was so happy when I finally made it to that season where we meet Brook, and it's so cool we're getting to see a live action version of him. It is played by Marshall T. Batchman. Looks amazing. Him and the actor that plays York, chef's kiss, okay? Couldn't have done it better. I think this is such a good way. Now, I don't know if we're gonna get to him, but it's so cool that they did hint to Brook. Luffy started singing the Rum Bar Pirates to Labu, and he was doing the Nika dance. The Nika dance. It's crazy that even in episode when they go to Little Garden, Dory, I think it's either Dory or Brogy, Dory and Brogy talk about Nika, and there is a Nika structure or statue early on. So it's crazy we're already getting hints to Nika so early on. We'll have to see if we're even gonna get that far in the anime. In like battle areas or calling centers, and they find out that it was Baroque Works coming together to fight two of the Baroque Work agents, which is kind of cool. And you hear about these agents, but you never see them. So it's always cool we got to see some more flashback characters or side characters. And also there's a scene where Robin, or at this point Miss All Sunday, again, sorry for spoilers, talks to Takashi at the bar and tell her like, oh, you're more than this, you can be better and be with the Baroque Works. She kind of like, I don't know about that. So I like that scene as well, giving the two of them more time. And you know, Takashi standing up to Smoker and letting him know like, no, I want to come, I'm going to do what my dream is to be, what my passion to be. But that is everything that I liked about season 2 of the live action One Piece. Season 3 is in production right now. I cannot wait. Again, the Alabasta Saga is my favorite arc of One Piece ever that I have watched. So Let me know again what you liked in the comments below. Bye, cuties.